DWP asking for your bank statements could in fact be completely unlawful, particularly if they're giving you this blanket excuse like they need to make sure you're on the right benefit. If you are one of those people that have been asked for your bank statements, and in some cases they're asking for 5 and 10 years, so you're telling me in the comments, or if you are somebody who has been threatened with having any kind of benefit suspended or even stopped, if you don't hand over these bank statements, then this video is for you. Now, it seems to be that the Department of Work and Pensions are acting a little bit ahead of their lawful rights. And that's because if we go to what they have recently published on the 8th of December, we can see that they are still in open consultation for the Fraud, Error and Recovery Act. And if you don't know what that is yet, then please go and check out the new Gov F.E.A.R bill playlist that I have, and it will explain all of that to you. But here we can clearly see it says open consultation, public authorities, Fraud, Error and Recovery Act, DWP, codes of practice. And this is really, really important because DWP have not yet proven to the Information Commissioner's Office in London that they are collecting and processing data in a way that is completely lawful. And a lot of that has something to do with going around this eligibility verification measure. And this measure is exactly what gives them the right to put into practice things like recovering money or recovering funds, payments, if they believe that you are, you owe it to them. Now, this is really important because when we look at the actual act, we see a part here about eligibility verification. And as you can see there, it also combines the Social Security Administration Act along with parts of the new F.E.A.R Act. Now, what this eligibility verification actually is, or the EVM is this allows DWP under strict conditions to issue notices to banks, not to you, asking them to check limited indicators about eligibility. And this is crucial because this power, this new power that they have with this F.E.A.R Act, cannot be used until the code of practice is in place. And currently it is not. Now, the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office in London, have responded to this act with this very notice that you can see here. And they clearly state, and we can see that in this part here, when they're talking about the eligibility verification measure, the Commissioner's view is that any actions taken by DWP need to be necessary, proportionate and fair. And it goes on further to say that it will also be the responsibility of DWP and those within the scope of the legislation to ensure that they process information under this measure in compliance with data protection law. Now, I'm going to go into this a little bit more because I know lots of you have been in the comments going, doesn't this breach GDPR and data protection? Well, when we look at what the Information Commissioner's Office has actually put here, it says quite clearly here that the Information Commissioner welcomes the fact that this needs to be done, well, various things need to be reviewed, and in particular that a code of practice must be issued before a notice is given. So we're currently verging on that point now. But then if we go a little bit further down and we see the ICO talking about the Social Security Administration Act, we also see here the risk of sharing insensitive information is also mitigated by paragraph 1.4 of the new schedule, which prohibits the sharing of transaction information or special category data. Now, under GDPR, special category data it can be a number of things. It can be medical data, and it also is financial data, so your bank statements. Now, this next part is really important, and this goes back to many of my videos that I have said to you guys already about the Social Administration Act and the Universal Credit Act. In order, if you're on these types of benefits, in order for you to be eligible, they do need to know your capital, so how much money you have coming in. But what you're spending your money on, asking you what £3.84 was that you spent on PayPal, which is what one of you have commented, is not allowed. And I have said this time and time and time again. And even if you're self-employed and you're on universal credit, they need to be very, very careful on the types of questions that they are asking you when it comes to what you're spending your money on. They actually don't have the right. And the Information Commissioner's Office confirms that here with this very phrase: the risk of sharing unnecessary and sensitive information is also mitigated by paragraph 1.4 of new Schedule 3B, which prohibits the sharing of transaction information or special category data. So that would be full bank statements in their entirety. They don't have the right to ask for those. Spending histories or quizzing you or what you've spent your money on, don't have the right to do that. Itemised transaction logs, also, they do not have the right to do that unless you are in something like a fraud risk review, which they have to notify you of, because then there are going to be different parameters that apply to that. Now, errors, you just making errors or doing certain things does not automatically indicate and equal fraud. And I think what a lot of you are worried about is that assumption because of the way they're asking you for these bank statements. But as we can clearly see here, the Information Commissioner's Office has said that, you know, they're not allowed to do that. Now, the ICO also says here that a code of practice must be published and have sufficient detail, but currently the code of practice is an open consultation, so that hasn't happened either. Now, I'm going to leave you with a very valuable quote and thought which relates to data protection law. Consent given under threat, so being threatened with your benefits being stopped or suspended or taken away if you don't provide full bank statements, is not valid consent in data protection law. So know that, and know that you do have rights. Now, before anybody goes, okay, so I don't have to, I can tell them to bog off, basically. I would not advise that. I would advise you, as I've always said, for them to clarify for what purpose do they require those bank statements and get that in writing. Now, I do have a complete free letter, which you can find here, and you can download that free letter. But basically, you need to be asking them this. Please specify the legal basis, scope, and necessity of this request, and confirm why full bank statements are required. Okay? Now, writing and requesting in this way is reasonable. it is lawful, and it is proportionate. And those are really the three tests that should be applied here, not threats or suspension of benefits. And the ICO in that publication they have made have been very, very clear that there have to be consistent reviews every 12 months on this Act anyway. And as of yet, that Act has not become fully, I would say, they can't implement that full Act as it is right now. And let me know in the comments if you've been threatened or if you've been quizzed over certain amounts of money that you've spent your money on and how much it was for. So I think the most shocking one I've had so far is £3.84 on a PayPal payment. If you have got something that could beat that, put it in the comments.